Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Nigel Farage, I know all the reasons why you don't like the deal, but I do sometimes wonder if you've taken into account, and I know it's a kind of no mates, no deal. I know that it's not got many friends either in the Remain or the Leave side. But I do sometimes wonder if you've taken into account the turmoil that could follow. I mean, Jacob Rees-Mogg, who thinks the same way as you do, although he's a Tory backbencher, he tweeted this morning that, quote, "The world would not end under no deal." I mean, if that's the best you can say, the world would not. There's a lot that can happen between the way we are now and the world ending, and most of it probably not very good.
Andrew, for 25 years, I've campaigned in every election I've fought, and there have been many, I've campaigned for a genuine free trade agreement with the European Union. As recently as the 7th of March last year, Donald Tusk was saying if the UK wants a free trade deal, we're happy to sit down and talk about it. The problem is the Prime Minister at no stage asked for a free trade agreement. She made it clear at Florence it was going to be a close and special partnership with us, remaining members of a variety of European agencies, etc. I think now, given where we are with time, the only possible way forward, if we're going to deliver Brexit on March the 29th, is to simply state we are leaving on World Trade Organization rules. And I believe, personally, if we did that, they would then come knocking our door down, because the German car industry, especially with Germany going into recession, the French wine industry...
You've been telling us about the German car industry for 2 years.
Yes, and
it's the dog that hasn't barked.
Well, did you see the industrial production figures? Did you see that Germany is now tipping into recession?
I saw that, and I also know that German car exports were 10% down last year. I know all that. And I still haven't seen the car industry in Germany go to Mrs. Merkel and say, you need to stop what's going to happen. We need to do a deal with the Brits.
And this is a failure of our entire negotiating strategy. I said from day one, the first thing we should have done was to send envoys out across Europe. Let's go to the wine makers, the car makers, the chocolate makers. Let's say to them, look, Brussels is not acting in your interests. Brussels here wants to act in its own political interests. A lot more pressure could have been applied. But I believe, Andrew, if they face the reality with one of their most important markets in the world, of tariffs coming in a few weeks' time, the point about negotiating a free trade deal is, at the moment, in regulatory terms, we're absolutely on the same level. This could be done.
They don't need us more than we need them, Nigel.
Well, I tell you what, at the moment...
They've been fooled into thinking that. Quizzical, as Nigel Farage was speaking.
I mean, I thought I was having an aneurysm, let alone looking quizzical.
That's worse than quizzical.
There's an interesting thing here about facing up to reality. Now, I'm not one of those people that thinks that any form of Brexit would be such a disaster that you can't do it, because I think it's really important to maintain faith in our democracy and deliver on that result. Failing that, go to a second referendum. However, this idea that WTO terms are attractive when there is a whole body of academic research showing that most countries in the world are moving away from WTO trading terms, and in fact that's been a major factor in impoverishing, in particular, many economies in Asia, in Africa. It's just mad to me that the Anglo-centrism that we have in this room means that we're not looking at how WTO terms have actually played out.
What countries are leaving? What countries are leaving the World Trade Organization?
In saying moving away from those terms by through bilateral trading agreements and moving towards blocks, I think that is something.
But all
which
bilateral trading agreements are always on top of the world trade deals.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that that's that they're moving away from bilateral trade
and bilateral. But we want bilateralism. Leaving the European Union gives us the ability to use bilateralism. And when you talk about
that's the opportunity.
And when you talk about the developing world,
the default is something else entirely.
There are 12,500 everyday goods that British households buy, everything from food to underwear to whatever else it is, that have tariffs put upon them. We, with WTO, would have the ability to reduce those prices, to give a much fairer deal to many of the poorer parts of the third world, to sell our goods into our market. I actually think WTO could, in a way, be quite... And it would save us 39 billion quid.
The 45 poorest countries in the world pay no tariffs to export into the European Union. The 45 poorest. So I'm not quite sure who's going to be helped. Let me come back to the May deal. What was the strongest element of the May deal that hasn't come across, that should have been the selling point for this deal?
Listen, it's not perfect, and just because I like it, it doesn't mean to say it's brilliant.
Everybody always begins, it's not perfect. I'm trying to find just maybe a soupçon of perfection.
I think she's failed. I think she's failed to sell some key points of negotiations that she got through, but she failed to sell. So she failed to sell the fact that she, you know, I'm pro-immigration actually, but she actually got a limit in terms of, she controlled the borders in terms of immigration. She controlled the control over...
What was the agreement she got with the EU on immigration?
Freedom of movement.
No, it's not there. It's not there. It's in the
Isn't that
political declaration.
discussion?
It's in the political declaration as an aspiration, and they've said in that declaration they will agree to consider.
But it's
There's
not
nothing
legally
been agreed
binding.
on.
Most of the claims that Theresa May has made for her deal actually don't stack up. It isn't really Brexit. I think that's why people like Nigel hate it. It doesn't deliver certainty for business. It doesn't, I don't think, protect jobs and security.
Well, it delivers a certain certainty in that you know the terms in which
transition.
we're leaving, and then you have a transition period. But all the businesses I speak to rather like the idea of a transition period.
Not least because it helps them, those who are going to relocate and put investment elsewhere.
A transition period that ends on 20XX and a backstop that is anathema to Brexiteers, the DUP,
The transition
and many
period
others.
ends unless it's extended by December 2020. That was in the deal.
Yes, but that's why we've had that amendment, which has now been taken
instead,
down with concerns about a never-ending transition because of the idea that the EU wants to stay in. You know, a deep and special partnership with the EU is EU membership.
And if we leave without a deal, whether it's Mrs May's deal or anybody else's deal, our farmers could face tariffs of up to 60% exporting to the EU.
And indeed, Irish farmers would face even higher penalties. But the point about the no-deal premise, let's not mischaracterise Rees-Mogg. Rees-Mogg wanted a deal, but he was advocating what the Prime Minister said, which was that no deal was preferable to a bad deal. So if you agree that the deal is bad, then by definition, you're not saying that no deal's perfect either, but you're saying
just
it's
address
preferable.
Anybody voted
just
for no deal.
Just address the point. Never mind Jacob Rees-Mogg. Just address the point that our farmers, if we leave at the end of March without a deal, could face tariffs of up to 60%.
Which, at the time, Environment Secretary Michael Gove has addressed in speeches, saying that measures will have to be taken in order to remedy farmers, not only for that, but the lack of their own EU subsidies.
Bang goes your 350 million a week then.
Well, farmers get bailed out by Gove.
All right.
Well, I don't know whether we can Gove by bailing out anyone at the moment.
Mr Gove, of course, is very much against a no deal. Indeed, he said if there's a no deal, winter is coming.
Yes.
Which I guess means that the National Health Service will face a problem in the
bizarrely,
summer as well as the winter.